Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about temptation bundling. Have you heard of this? Are you familiar with it?
Temptation? No, that's the first time I've heard of it.
Okay. You'll probably recognize it once I say it, because I feel like most of us have done this. I did this 20 plus years ago without even knowing what I was doing. So I think if you're a longtime listener, I think I've mentioned this before in our nutrition nugget about food porn. So here's the story. So I used to love watching the Food Network and like cooking shows. As a kid, I watched them after school, like loved them. And inevitably when watching, I would end up finding myself in the kitchen looking for something to eat. So watching cooking shows became early on in my, focus on this stuff. It was a red line that I gave myself. And it was, I will only watch the Food Network or cooking shows when I am at the gym. And it happened to be this thing where do you remember the cardio machines of 20 plus years ago where they only got 4 channels, right?
Yeah.
So Food Network was one of those. Today, I didn't even realize it, right? But at the time, that was temptation bundling. Today, you'll hear productivity experts talk about temptation bundling. And a lot of times they also talk about it in the context of willpower, right? This is a way of bolstering your willpower. And depending on how you implement it, it can truly potentially improve both our physical health and our mental health. So what exactly is it? It's building on the theory of psychology called Premack's principle from Professor Premack. So the principle says more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors, right? So essentially, if we attach something we want to do to something we don't want to do, we're more likely to do the thing we don't want to do, right?
Okay.
Enjoy watching the cooking show, add it to, time on the elliptical. Now, all of a sudden, that time on the elliptical is passing and I don't even realize it, right? So the phrase temptation bundling, though, came from a professor at Wharton. Her name is Catherine Milkman, and she describes it more as linking an action we want to do with an action we need to do. Yep. So it works by linking an action you want with an action you need. It's a way of using rewards that offer instant gratification to help us. This is why it connects to willpower, to sort of harness that willpower for things that have delayed gratification. Now, a couple nuances. She says that one thing does not happen without the other. And rewards, like in temptation bundling, it's not something you do after you've completed the task you need to do, but something that you do simultaneously. So a couple of examples that I also find myself doing all the time. I'll watch TV shows that don't require a ton of attention, like Love Island or Love is Blind, Selling Sunset, right? Some of these shows I put on while I'm doing work tasks that are maybe a little more tedious. I also listen to audiobooks or podcasts while doing laundry. Now, I will say those are not the only times I watch shows or do these things. So technically, Milkman would probably say I'm doing it wrong, but it still works, right?
Well, I don't think there's wrong, is there?
Right, exactly.
It's got to work for you, otherwise you're not going to do it.
Right. So it was interesting, though. So in their study, and I think this is why, they say it has to happen, only at the same time. So the study that she did was about getting people to work out, and they gave people iPods with really good books on them. They had the participants listen to the beginning of the book during a 30-minute workout, and the only way they could get access to the iPod to keep listening to the book was by going back to the gym. There was a different group that was given, this was the control group, was given like a Barnes & Noble gift card so they could then go listen to whatever they wanted, and they could do it, whenever they wanted, whatever they wanted, while still having access to the gym. And then the third group didn't have the iPod locked away, but was encouraged to only listen to the book while at the gym. The participants in the temptation bundling group, that first group, visited the gym 51% more frequently than the control group. So their research, right, reinforces this idea of one thing only happening with the other.
Yes.
But I do think in the reality of it, I don't know that that's, how I experience it, right? But here's how to do it. So you're going to make 2 lists. The first list, and think of it like 2 side-by-side columns on a piece of paper. So the first list is you're going to write down things you enjoy, right? That's our temptation things, the pleasurable things, the stuff that we want to do. The other list in the second column are the tasks and behaviors that we need to do, the things that we tend to procrastinate, right?
Yes.
Now, this next step, step 3, critical. You're going to review the list for conflicts. So what we mean by that is because the 2 things have to happen simultaneously, we want to make sure that what we're pairing is realistic to do at the same times.
And it's going to work. Yeah, like eating pizza on a treadmill is probably not a great idea.
Exactly. Or even listening to a book while writing emails at the same time, like all word things, probably not helpful, So then once we've figured out what won't work at the same time, then we play matchmaker, right? And we connect the columns, one thing from each column to pair them up. So if you want to take this to the next level, you can even combine temptation bundling with habit stacking. So we add this new pair from the temptation bundle to a habit or a behavior that already happens, right? Either before or after. So really quick, though, I want to go back to what I said about how the timing for this conversation might be really important. So a lot of times I see with temptation bundling, even Andrew, as you just said, this idea of eating pizza while on the treadmill, right? It hits this idea of reward systems. And a lot of time we think of food rewards.
Yes.
And we're hitting Halloween, right? Halloween candy is often used as rewards for us, for our kids, right? We're human. Food rewards are a thing. So I want to encourage everybody to think about temptation bundling as a tool and doing this not with your Halloween candy, right? So number 1, I want everybody to know, similar to what we talked about in this week's episode, you do not have to earn your Halloween candy. It's okay.
Yep.
And there's also an infinite number of rewards that are not food related at all. So think about listening to music. Of course, I love TV shows in the background, listening to podcasts or books while doing laundry. You could do the online shopping for the toilet paper and add a gift for yourself, right? You could watch a recorded webinar or listen to something that's not of your choosing while you color or doodle or do something that does entertain you a bit. Maybe create a co-working session so that you have social time while you're being productive, right? I actually do this with a whole group of entrepreneurs. We have a monthly bookkeeping session. Weekly, I do this with a colleague and a friend of mine, right? A bit of accountability, a bit of fun. You can get creative, but recognize there are a lot of ways to do this that are not food related. And I'm going to say it again. Enjoy your Halloween candy. It doesn't have to be a reward. You can enjoy it no matter what. And yet temptation bundling might be a really helpful tool in the scheme of the things that we're doing. Andrew, what do you want to add?
Oh, I think that's awesome. I love that. It's the first time I've actually heard of that term, but I think it's a wonderful idea. In terms of the Halloween candy, I think, as you said, and I think we need to be able to indulge and not feel guilty, and that's part of a happy, healthy life. I think the key here is the reason why you're eating the Halloween candy. I think there's a big red flag if it's a craving, if it's an emotional response, if it's I'm angry, so I'm going to eat Halloween candy. I think eat it because you feel like it and you like it. But if you're creating good habits, the habits we're talking about, then you won't crave. It will be a healthy choice. I think the other thing about this temptation bundling is what I like to do is when I'm about to do something that traditionally maybe I don't love to do, like drink water, for example. I don't always love drinking water, but as I'm drinking it, my imagination is the reward. I'm imagining this fluid energizing and healing and creating a body and a health that I want. Every time I eat, take my supplements, my organic supplements, every time I put them in my mouth, every time I'm moving my body, I'm imagining every single step, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger. So I can use the imaginary reward and the growth and who I'm becoming as that reward. And that, for me, that really is a motivating factor. I can't listen to stuff when I'm exercising. I'd rather get out and just do it. Although one thing I do every morning, Jen, is I train I live near the beach. And every morning I'm out exercising by the water. And for me, as I'm doing some exercises, I'm looking at the water, I'm looking at the waves, I'm looking at the sun rising. And for me, that's an incredible reward. Every now and then dolphins might swim past, or every now and then there's pelicans that come and land on. And most mornings there's beautiful pink sky. And for me, that's the reward. And I think I wouldn't want to miss that. I'd hate to sleep in and miss something extraordinary that I could see if I'm down by the water. And I think for me, those things really work.
Now I'm trying to figure out what I can do while I book a trip to Australia. Right.
Absolutely.
I know. Awesome. I love that. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jen Trepeck, JenNTrepeck. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I love hearing from you, your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Andrew Drobling, thank you again for joining us.
You're welcome, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And friends, if you are not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/saladwithaside-of-fries, or just click the link in the episode notes to show your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, support your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the best ratatouille. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.